Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at the proposed school budget for CCCSD. That's for the 2025-26 school year.
And we're also going to dive into Proposition 2. That's the one on the ballot about electric buses for the district.
Yeah, school budgets, they can seem really dense sometimes, right? Lots of numbers, jargon.
Absolutely. So our mission here is really to pull out the key stuff from the district's own documents. We want to make clear what's being proposed, why it matters to you, the community, without, getting totally lost in the weeds.
Exactly. We've sifted through the budget papers, the Prop 2 details, all that. Think of us as your guide.
So where do you want to start? Prop 2, maybe?
Yeah.
Since it's a specific vote item.
Good idea. Let's tackle Proposition 2 first. So what exactly is it asking?
Okay, so Proposition 2 is asking for authorization for the district to buy 10 new electric school buses and, importantly, also the related charging infrastructure that goes with them.
Right, the chargers. Now, the big question, anytime something new like this comes up, taxes, what's the story there? Will this cost taxpayers more locally?
Well, according to the district's documents, the answer is actually no. This specific proposition, if approved, is designed to have no impact on local taxes.
No local tax impact. Okay, that's definitely something people want to hear. So if not local taxes, how are they paying for, well, 10 electric buses and chargers? That sounds expensive.
It is, upfront.
Yeah.
But the funding plan uses a few different streams. First, there's state transportation aid, which districts often get.
Okay, standard state aid.
Yeah. Then there are state incentives, specifically through the New York State Bus Incentive Program. They call it NYSBIP. These are basically rebates for going electric.
Ah, rebates, like for appliances, but bigger.
Kinda, yeah. And the third piece is existing district reserve funds, money they've already put aside specifically for transportation and infrastructure type projects.
Got it. So state aid, state rebates, and money already saved up. Makes sense. Why propose this now, though? Is there an urgency?
There are a few reasons highlighted. A big one is that NYSBIP funding, those rebates, it's first come, first serve. So acting sooner gives CCCSD a better shot at getting that money.
Ah, okay. So if you wait, the pot might be empty.
Potentially, yeah. Or at least lower. Plus, delaying could mean higher prices for the buses later on. Inflation, supply chain stuff,
Makes sense. What else?
They also talk about phasing them in, bringing them in gradually, not all at once.
Why do it that way?
Well, it helps ensure service stays smooth for students, no big disruptions. It also gives the drivers and the mechanics time to get comfortable with the new technology. Hands-on experience.
Learning curve, basically.
Exactly. And a longer timeline just allows for more careful planning, integrating everything properly.
Okay. And the number, 10 buses. Why 10 specifically?
10 is the maximum number the district is eligible to get funding for right now through that NYSBI program.
Ah, maxing out the available incentives.
Right. And getting approval for all 10 now gives them flexibility. They can plan the ordering, the testing, the rollout over the next 3 school years. They won't buy all 10 on day one.
I see. It's about planning flexibility over the next few years. What about reliability? People might wonder if electric buses are, ready for prime time, especially in our weather.
That's definitely a consideration. The district notes that the technology is improving, and this gradual adoption, phasing them in, lets them learn how the buses perform here in our climate, the cold winters.
Without risking leaving kids stranded if something goes wrong.
Precisely. It allows them to gain that operational experience, adapt as needed, without compromising safety or service.
Okay, let's talk dollars and cents. You mentioned the upfront cost is higher for electric. How does it actually break down with the aid and rebates?
Right, so the documents laid out a typical diesel bus costs around $185,179.
Okay.
An electric bus is significantly more upfront, $450,478.
Wow, yeah, that's more than double.
But then the funding kicks in. The NYSBIP rebate for an electric bus is $220,500.
Okay, that helps a lot.
Then there's the state transportation aid. It's the same rate for both, 81.8%.
81.8%. Okay.
So for the diesel bus, that 81.8% aid is $151,476. Subtract that from the purchase price, and the local share what the district actually pays is $33,703.
Almost $34,000 local cost for a diesel bus.
Got it.
Now, so the electric bus, the 81.8% aid on its higher price is $237,978 rebate.
Correct.
So you take the $458,478 order price, subtract the $237,978 in state aid, and desubtract the $220,500 NYSBIP rebate.
And what's left?
Zero. The total local share for the electric bus, according to this plan, is $0.
$0, really. So despite costing way more initially after all the state money, the electric bus cost the district nothing locally, while the diesel still costs nearly $34,000.
That's what the numbers in the proposal show, yes.
That's quite a difference.
It is, and it ties into the bigger picture in New York State. There's a state mandate coming. Oh, right. I've heard about that. All electric fleets eventually.
Yeah. Starting in 2027, districts must only buy zero-emission buses, and the whole fleet has to be zero-emission by 2035.
So 2027 isn't that far off. This proposal, then, it's not just about the rebates now, it's also getting ready for that mandate.
Exactly. It's presented as proactive planning. Getting started now, using the available incentives, helps meet that future requirement without, hopefully, a bigger financial shock later when maybe the incentives aren't as good or prices are even higher.
And doing it without, as you said, impacting local taxes for this specific purchase.
That's the plan laid out in the proposition details.
Okay, that really clarifies Proposition 2. Let's zoom out then to the overall budget proposal for 2025-26. What are the top-line numbers we should know?
All right, so the budget they adopted for this current school year, 24-25, was $103,303,515.
Okay, about $103 million.
The proposed budget for next year, 25-26, is $108,879,682.
$108.8 million, roughly, so an increase.
Yes, it's an increase of about $5.57 million compared to the current adopted budget. That works out to a 5.43% increase.
5.4%. How does that compare to, say, inflation?
Well, the documents note the change in the Consumer Price Index is 2.95%. So the budget increase is higher than that CPI figure.
Okay. There's also a contingency budget number mentioned?
Yes, that's $106,852,612. The proposed budget is about $3.5 million, or 3.43%, higher than that contingency figure.
Right. Now, the tax levy, that's always a key number for residents. What's proposed there?
The proposed tax levy needed to support this budget is $43,700,929.
Okay, $43.7 million. How does that compare to this year?
This year's levy was $42,300,773. So the proposed increase is about $1.4 million.
And percentage-wise, is it within the state cap?
Yes. The proposed tax levy increase is 3.31%. The district notes that this is below the state calculated tax levy cap for CCCSD, which is 4.59%.
So under the cap, that's an important detail. The budget's broken down into components too, right? Admin, program, capital.
That's right. The administrative part is proposed at about $12.35 million. That's, central office management costs.
Got it.
The program component is the biggest chunk, proposed at $78.4 million. That covers teaching, student services, athletics, curriculum development, all that direct education stuff.
Makes sense. That's the core mission.
And the capital component is proposed at $18.1 million. That's for maintaining buildings, grounds, debt service on past construction projects, things like that.
Okay. And one more financial piece, the STAR exemption?
Yes. For homeowners eligible for the basic STAR exemption, the estimated savings is listed as $432.
$432. Okay. So lots of information for people to digest before the vote. Let's cover the voting details. When and where?
The vote is on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Polls are open from noon until 9 p.m.
Noon to 9 p.m. And the location?
It's at the Middle School North Cafeteria. Use door 31.
Middle School North Cafeteria, door 31. And who can vote? Just a reminder.
You need to be a U.S. citizen, at least 18 years old, and have been a resident of the CCCSD district for at least 30 days before the vote.
Standard voting requirements. What if someone can't make it in person that day? Are there absentee or early voting options?
Yes, absolutely. If you can't vote in person because of illness, disability, travel, things like that, you can apply for an absentee ballot. There's also an option for early mail voting.
How do people get the applications for those?
Easiest way is probably the district website. They usually have them there. Or you can call the district clerk. The number is 293-1800, extension 2300.
293-1800, extension 2300.
Or you can pick one up in person at the district offices. That's 139 Fairbanks Road.
Okay. Are there deadlines people need to know for those applications and ballots?
Yes, very important. If you want the ballot mailed to you, the application has to be received by the district by May 13th.
May 13th for mailed ballots.
If you're picking up the application in person, you can do that right up until May 19th, the day before the vote. But the key deadline is returning the completed ballot.
Yeah.
Whether it's absentee or early mail, it must be back at the district office by 5 p.m. on vote day, May 20th.
5 p.m. on May 20th. Not when the polls close, but 5 p.m. That's crucial.
Yes, 5 p.m. sharp. Any dollars received after that can't be counted.
Okay, good to emphasize. So, wrapping this up, We've looked at the proposed 2025-26 budget for CCCSD, and we dove deep into Proposition 2, the electric bus initiative.
And a key takeaway on Prop 2 seems to be that structure using state aid, those NYSBIP rebates, and reserve funds means no planned local tax impact for that specific purchase.
Right, and it also positions the district to start addressing that state mandate for zero-emission buses proactively.
It definitely seems like forward planning.
Yeah.
Regardless of how anyone feels about the specifics, understanding what's proposed is key.
Absolutely. So we really encourage everyone who's eligible to get informed, consider the details, and then make sure to vote. Again, that's Tuesday, May 20th, noon to 9 p.m., Middle School North Cafeteria.
Your participation matters in these local decisions. And if you want even more detail, all the documents should be on the budget page of the district's website.
Definitely check that out for the full picture.
So it leaves you thinking. Considering this move towards electric buses, looking at long-term environmental aspects, potential cost savings down the line, it makes you wonder what other kinds of forward-thinking initiatives might be on the horizon for CCCSD to keep enhancing things for students and the community.
That's a great question to ponder, something to keep an eye on for the future.